Welcome to One Girl's Treasure. How did I come up with the name One Girl's Treasure? Well, there is the saying that one man's trash is another man's treasure. And so my vision for this channel was I wanted to share experiences in my life that I know are not just limited to me. I know we all go through things. I've talked to different people who've gone through a lot of the similar things that I've gone through in life that we would classify as maybe trashy circumstances, or just difficult seasons. And I just want to be able to talk about these things and then maybe be able to bring hope. And because one thing I can say throughout the course of my life is that when you're walking through difficult seasons, sometimes it's really hard to see the value or to find meaning in the moments in the middle of those seasons, or but I can honestly say, looking back, that I have just learned so much. And so I wanted to start by talking about specifically my journey with my late husband. And first of all, when he was diagnosed, it was a complete shock, I mean, initially we were told that he had a stomach ulcer. That's what originally he was being treated for. He had lost a significant amount of weight, and anyways, in the end, it was not that. It was stage 4 cancer, stomach cancer, and bowel cancer. And by the time that they found it, it was already advanced, stage 4, and they told us he had 3 to 6 months to live. So I just remember thinking, our whole world is going to change now, because I wanted, in my head, I just wanted him to have, whatever time he had left, I just wanted it to be the best. I wanted him to spend it how he wanted to spend it. And I feel, I guess, very blessed in many ways, because he did actually live 17 months, which was amazing. I actually remember the 1-year anniversary of his diagnosis, meeting with the oncologist, and I remember her saying to us that he was like the 2nd or 3rd case that she had dealt with that had completely surpassed the date, the time that they thought he was going to be allotted. So I just felt like that was such a gift. And I also think that it had a lot to do with, well, there's a few things, but it had a lot to do with his determination to live, I guess. And also, I think one of the things that was really crucial was that for us, or for him specifically, to decide how he wanted to proceed in his journey and even his treatment. And so I'll maybe talk about that in my next video. But in this video, I just want to focus on how, we can, I can honestly look back now and just see so many amazing things throughout the course of those 17 months. He had such incredible dreams about this paradise that he was going to be going through, or going to, throughout the course of that time. And it changed him. I remember the first Christmas after he'd been diagnosed, he said to me, I never thought I would say this, but he said, in a way, I'm actually glad that this happened to me. And he was referring to having the cancer, or being diagnosed with it, because he said, it's changed me, but it's changed me in the best way. And I got to witness that firsthand. I mean, he was, I would say he was a great guy, but it was just I saw this progression. I saw this softening of his heart. I saw this, this transformation. And it was pretty awesome to see, and really incredible to walk beside someone who was essentially preparing to die. And when I say that, I mean dying physically in this world. I do believe that his spirit still exists. I've had moments where, like I would say, probably over the course of the last maybe 2.5 years, I've had a couple moments where I have experienced what I would say is like his presence, where I can sense and feel like his presence. And it's hard to articulate and put those experiences like verbally. It's hard to explain them, because I think it's one of those things that if you haven't had an experience like that, it may seem very strange. But when you do, for me, it was just very real, and it was just, I guess, very affirming. And I've done some reading on grief, and I've come to find that that's a very normal experience for people to have. And it's very comforting. One of the resources that we found really helpful, and maybe you will find helpful, is a book that his aunt gave us called Love, Medicine, and Miracles by Dr. Bernie Siegel. And essentially what we took from it was, it's so important for the person that is going through the diagnosis of whatever, cancer, I mean, it could be anything, but it's really important for them to decide what they think is going to be an effective treatment plan for them. Because oftentimes people will choose a treatment based on maybe what they feel their doctor is sort of pressuring them to do, or maybe family is pressuring them to do. And essentially he gave examples of different people who had been diagnosed, and they all chose something different. So for example, one person might choose to exercise, and one person might choose to be more healthy about their diet, and one person might choose to go to church more. And he said, in his experience, what he noticed is patients would often do better, but it was often based on them deciding what path that they believed would help them in their journey. So I think that's a really important point, because obviously we all have our own thoughts and ideas and opinions about, even other people's lives and situations. And so I just really felt like it was important to, for him to figure out what was the best path for him, and what he felt to figure out what he believed would help him. And so I think that was really pivotal. And also just being there's many things, but he just had this determination that he wanted to live, that he wanted to fight this thing, that he wasn't going to just lie down and die. I remember when we got back from his initial diagnosis, I remember him just, as he had tears pouring down his face, and like he was angry, and he was just like, I am going to fight this thing with everything in me. And he was just really determined. And I think just having a really good support system around him, I think when people are going through, whether it's physical illness, whether it's mental illness, I think a lot of times it's just having that unconditional love and support. And I know that sounds very obvious, but I think sometimes when you're in the role of a caregiver or a spouse or whatever, maybe you're both, sometimes it's easier said than done. And so I think it's even recognizing, for me, I had to recognize my limitations, and I had to, as time went on and as he needed sort of more kind of round the clock care, I had to learn to ask for help. I had to learn to reach out to family members and friends and just, say, can you just come and stay with him so that I can just go for a walk or something. It could be as simple as that. But yeah, taking care of someone is, it can, if you don't balance it out and aren't taking care of your own needs, then it can be overwhelming. So I think I'm going to end right there. And I hope that has been kind of helpful. And I think that in the next video, I'm going to talk about just some more good stuff. So thanks for tuning in.